In the previous video, we discussed about the overview of photosynthesis, while we had a holistic approach towards the process of photosynthesis. Now in here, we are going to discuss about the light-dependent reactions of photosynthesis in detail. As the name states, these are the reactions that are dependent on light. To be precise, it's the energy of photons that is used to drive these reactions. First of all, let's see the site of reactions. It's the type of plastid named as chloroplast where the photosynthesis occurs. And inside the chloroplast, we have a double membrane structures called thylakoids. And it's in these thylakoid membranes where light-dependent reactions occurs. Basically, the membrane of thylakoids are embedded with specialized light-absorbing proteins called photosystems, which makes them the site for these kind of reactions. Before we jump towards the reactions, let's see the different processes that take place in the light-dependent reactions in a sequential manner. We see the first thing that happens in chlorophyll molecules is the photoexcitation of electrons. When the light energy is absorbed by photosystem 2 molecules, it excites the electrons and finally ejects the electrons from reaction center of photosystem 2. The second reaction that occurs here is the photolysis of water molecules, in which we see it stabilizes the photosystem 2 by providing the lost electron. How it stabilizes it? It's by the absorption of light energy. The water molecule gets split into oxygen molecule and gives off electrons and protons. Then we see we have electron transport chain. In electron transport chain, the ejected electron from photosystem 2 goes through the membrane via electron carriers. The function of ETC is to pump the protons into lumen from stroma. The second thing is that it reduces the NADP positive into NADPH. And finally, the last reaction to occur in light-dependent reaction is the ATP generation, where the ATP molecules are getting generated by the process of chemiosmosis. Now let's see a detailed outlook of light-dependent reactions. In the structure of thylakoid membrane, we see it has got different types of protein molecules. First, it has got photosystem 2 molecule, also called as P680 molecule, where P stands for pigment and 680 is the maximum absorbing wavelength of this molecule, that is 680 nanometer in visible spectrum. Then we have different mobile electron carriers. Plastoquinone molecule is the first electron carrier. After that we have cytochrome B6F complex, and finally we have plastocyanine. Then again we have light harvesting molecule by the name of photosystem first, also called as P700, as its maximum absorbing wavelength capacity is 700 nanometer in visible spectrum. And for the ATP generation process, the thylakoid membrane has got ATP synthase molecule as shown in the diagram. The first event that takes place is the absorption of light energy by photosystem 2. It's when the photons hit the antenna pigment molecules and excites the electron in the antenna molecules, which transfers the energy towards the reaction center via resonance transfer. And in the reaction center, the electron gets from ground state to the excited state. The light energy also drives the photolysis of water into oxygen, electrons and protons. The oxygen is evolved through oxygen evolving complex. The electrons that we get from the photolysis of water stabilizes the photosystem 2 molecule by compensating for the lost electrons. After that, we see the electrons just ejected from the photosystem 2 molecule are received by plastoquinone molecule, and this plastoquinone molecule gets reduced when it accepts 2 electrons from photosystem 2 and 2 hydrogen cations from stroma of the chloroplast, thereby forming plastoquinol PQH2. But the plastoquinol further delivers the electrons towards the cytochrome B6F complex, which mediates the pumping of protons into lumen by the energy of excited electrons. Now at that time, the electron is again at the lower energy state, as it has lost its energy for pumping protons from stroma into the lumen. And after that, this low energy electron is carried towards another photosystem called as photosystem 2 by the mobile carrier protein called plastocyanine. Here in the photosystem 1, the electron has low energy, and it gains energy when the photosystem 1 molecule absorbs the light energy again. and excites the electron back to the higher energy state. And finally, the energized electron is transported to NADP plus by pyridoxine. And in presence of pyridoxine NADP reductase, the electron is received by NADP plus and gets reduced to NADPH. So we have now NADPH produced from the light dependent reaction. Now from the light dependent reaction, we need another molecule, that's ATP molecule, for another process of photosynthesis, that's Calvin cycle. So for the generation of ATP, we see we have created the high concentration of protons in the lumen side of thylakoid. This creates electrochemical gradient, and by this the protons move down their electrochemical gradient. That means the protons will move from lumen towards the stroma, and this movement of protons is mediated via ATP synthase, a channel protein which uses the proton motive force to generate ATP from ADP through the process of chemiosmosis. In this way, ATP is generated. Now we have both molecules, that's NADPH and the ATP molecule, for the another part of photosynthesis, that is Calvin cycle. So this is how the light dependent reaction occurs inside the thylakoid membrane.
The amazing process of photosynthesis. A look around at nature is an absolute treat to our senses. We all enjoy the colors and fragrance of plants, but seem to forget about their important contribution. Plants are an absolute necessity for life on Earth. It is so because of the process of photosynthesis. A closer look at a plant shows that it is firmly held in the soil by the help of roots. These roots absorb water from the soil and through the tiny tubes transport it to the stem and then to the leaves. The stem holds the leaves in such a way that they absorb maximum energy from sunlight. A leaf is a very important part of the plant. Photosynthesis, the ultimate provider of food and oxygen, occurs in the leaf. A leaf consists of a flat, thin lamina, which is joined to the stem by a petiole. The flattened lamina provides large surface area for trapping sunlight. A cross-section of the leaf shows the upper and lower layers of cells, which are flat and irregular. Below the upper layer is the layer of tightly packed cells. These cells have specialized organelles called chloroplasts. Chloroplasts contain the pigment chlorophyll, which gives the green color to the leaf. The next layer has loosely arranged cells with large air spaces. The section also shows tubes specific for transporting the absorbed water into the leaves. The lower layer has many pores called stomata. Each stoma is surrounded by two guard cells, which regulate opening and closing of the stomata. A leaf absorbs carbon dioxide from the environment through these stomata, which, after passing through air spaces, enter into the chlorophyll-containing cells. Both water and carbon dioxide molecules are finally absorbed by the chloroplast. These chloroplasts also have the capacity for trapping energy from sunlight, and this energy is used to synthesize glucose and oxygen from carbon dioxide and water. These oxygen and glucose molecules diffuse out of the chloroplast. The glucose is transported through other specialized tubes to all parts of the plant, aiding in their growth. The oxygen present in these air spaces diffuses out through the stomata. So, during photosynthesis, oxygen is given as the life-sustaining gaseous component of the atmosphere, while glucose or food is transported to all parts of the plant and used for growth. To summarize, green plants can make their own food by the process of photosynthesis. Plants are held in the soil with the help of roots. These roots absorb water and send it to the leaves through specialized tubes. The lower layer has many pores called stomata. A leaf absorbs carbon dioxide from the environment through these stomata. Both water and carbon dioxide molecules are finally absorbed by the chloroplast. Where in the presence of chlorophyll and sunlight, they synthesize glucose and release oxygen. The oxygen diffuses out through the stomata. The glucose is transported through other specialized tubes to all parts of the plant, aiding in their growth.
Respiration through stomata. The underside of leaves consists of several minute structures called stomata. Stomata consist of a pair of bean-shaped cells called guard cells, which surround a tiny pore. Guard cells regulate the opening and closing of the stomata. During photosynthesis, air containing carbon dioxide diffuses into the stomata. Oxygen produced as a byproduct of photosynthesis diffuses out into the atmosphere through the same opening. Simultaneously, water vapor present in the leaf also diffuses out into the atmosphere through the stomata. Plants cannot absorb carbon dioxide without losing water vapor. Thus, transpiration is inevitable during photosynthesis.